Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, and you're listening to Incredible Life Creator Podcast. I'm also the author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Life, a step-by-step guide to creating an incredible life of your own. Today, my guest is Susie Carter. And Susie Carter started out as a low-paid hairdresser trying to support her two girls, but working for someone else became a challenge to say the least. So she decided to do whatever it took to create her own business. After much blood and sweat and tears mixed with cheap mascara, she went on to create not one, but two $10 million companies. Her core genius is the ability to simplify complicated issues by creating simple, proven systems that are guaranteed to create dramatic growth for any company. She has helped over 100,000 entrepreneurs increase their revenues by more than 300% and work with top business moguls, including John Assaraf, Lisa Nichols, Steve Harvey, Doug Carter, and Paul Mitchell. Her newest book, number 10, Power Your Profits, is a bulletproof start to finish plan for taking your business from startup mode to the multi-million dollar mark. Welcome to the podcast, Susie.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And more importantly, Dr. Kimberly, thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate it. We need more of us holding the flag on, you can do it, you can do it.
Thank you. Well, I like reading all those big numbers in your bio. That's just exciting. So,
Right? You just got
yeah,
to be strategic. What's your goal? What do you want to do? Let's make it happen. So it hasn't always been this way, but it definitely has been a journey of up and down and up and down. So I'm excited to be able to share the journey.
yes, please do. Tell us your story.
Yeah, so I again started out as a hairdresser. That was my vocation. And I grew up with nine brothers and sisters: Bobby, Ronnie, Stevie, Terry, Joni, Shelley, Susie, Kelly, Debbie. We had six girls, one bathroom, 1,200 square feet. Have no idea. Like when I go back to that house, I'm like, where did we all sit? Where did we all eat? It tiny, tiny house, right? Little cracker box house. And what my dad told us is when you're 18, you move out and you get a husband, right? Get a job. Those were the things. Those were the things that I learned. So I moved out. I found a husband. I'm like, he had muscles and a checkbook and a car. That must be a good husband. He was
That's right.
handsome.
That's right. That age, right?
Unfortunately, my picker was off, and that did not make a good husband. So I found myself as a single mom raising my two little girls with no alimony, no child support, and I had to figure out how to make this business thing work. When I got into entrepreneurship, I didn't even know that was entrepreneurship. I just was like, oh, I'll go into this profession, which I loved, 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 loved it. But the reality was, as most entrepreneurs, if you don't do something that day, you don't get paid. And so I had to figure it out quick so I could pay my rent, feed my children, right? Take care of my well being, take care of my family. And that became pivotal of starting this entrepreneur journey. At night, I would go to bookstores because I couldn't afford coaches. I couldn't afford classes. I'd go to the bookstore. I'd sit on the floor. And if I needed a marketing campaign, I'd study marketing. If I needed to figure out my finances, I read a marketing book, right? And then I couldn't afford the $20 for a book. So I had to go to the used bookstore down the street and find that same book for 25 cents versus $20. Just being strategic and frugal and, to really provide for my family. And at that time, I did $250,000 a year as a hairdresser. And most hairdressers at that time were making about 30 grand a year. So that was crazy. Now, I didn't know it. I was just, I lived in San Diego. Our cost of living is high. I just had to figure out how to do it. And then Paul Mitchell found me and said, what are you doing and how do you do it? I'm like, oh, I'll show you. So I started sharing with my sales rep, and she's like, you need to teach our salons and spas this. I'm like, okay. Girl, I did not know what that meant when I said okay. That's how my speaking business started, right? And people are like, oh my God, I love this. Do you have a book? I'm like, no, I don't have a book. I just wanted to share what I had to learn the hard way. Like, I was so excited to go, oh, do this. Oh, we need a referral program. Oh, let me show you how to maximize your day. And my speaking career started from my students saying, ah, love the book, hate to read, you have it on audio. I'm like, no, I just wrote the book. Come on, cut me some slack. Because in my head, it wasn't a business, it was my give back to my community.
Mhm.
Right. And so after a while, so I went in the studio, figured out how to do a recording. right? And put the book on audio. And then it snowballed into this, training and development company. I started traveling all over the country, then all over the world, and then had to hire people. And it's been this journey of seizing the day, right? I think we all hear those messages. We just ignore them or push them away and go, "What is that noise? It's annoying." I want you to jump on it, right? I call it God. You can call it whatever you choose, to go, what's that voice saying to play bigger, play bolder, be radical? You don't have to know how to do it all the time. I didn't know half the things I did. I just had to figure it out along the way.
Sounds like you did. You did a good job of figuring it out along the way.
I did. There were a lot of breakdowns, right? A lot of failures. I'm oversimplifying, a 30-year career in building businesses. But I really, I didn't like math. Most people don't like math, right, as entrepreneurs. But I got to tell you, Dr. Kimberly, I had a salon and spa, and we were doing $1.2 million in the salon and spa. And the average, so we were the top 1% in the nation, top 10% in the world. And we earned that right. We were an award-winning salon and spa. We had accolades and, in every category of our business. And that year we lost 70 grand. I'm like, how do you make $1.2 million and lose 70 grand? Like, it was so mind boggling to me. Mm-hmm. So I had to dig in and figure it out for myself. Like, my CPA could say, oh, well, we just need to charge more. Well, we're already charging a lot. So that doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. And so because I wasn't mathematical, if you will, I had to dig in and go, well, why does it work? If we're a high-end salon and spa, what's missing? Mm-hmm. And so I started realizing that my pricing was set up based on a superstar, right? And the reality is you have to learn how to have average employees producing superstar results. And that became my magic, is how do I take someone that doesn't know how to build a business? How do I take them? They're not comfortable communicating. That industry has low self-esteem. How do I take these women who have low self-esteem and help them build a six-figure income for themselves? And that was my passion. And teaching people, like, just do this, you get this. Just say this, you get this, right? I started looking at everything that I was doing in my business and writing it down, right? Kind of reverse engineering. I didn't know the language back then, y'all. I know it now. I didn't know it then. Mm-hmm. And really reverse engineered what I was doing on a daily basis to make $250,000 a year as a technician. And then that next year, we had 40% profitability. So knowing the mathematical equation, even though I didn't like math, right? I told myself, most of us entrepreneurs go, I don't like math. I don't want to look at it. I say now, Dr. Kimberly, math is money. Money is fun. Mm-hmm. We all love the benefit of money. But nobody wants
money. Money is fun.
Money is fun, because we all love it, right? I could buy shoes and glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm loving the red glasses and the red lipstick and it's great.
Thank you. So when you realize, and I'm sure you realize this, there's a system for everything, right? You're an optometrist, so you have a system of how you do your consult, how you look at the eyes. There's a formula, and business is the same way. We're just not taught that formula. If we look at business, 15% of our financial success is based on our vocation. So, 20, 30 years ago, it was me being a hairdresser. That was only 15% of my success. The other 85% was my sales, marketing, operations, and finance. So I learned, like, I was a good hairdresser, right? But I was a great communicator, right? I could upsell. I really love to serve my client. I love to make people feel beautiful. And I'm still the same way. I really love taking care of my customer. I really love helping them in their business. I love having them see that math is money, money is fun. Like, that is the biggest happy dance I can do, is when someone who hates it now all of a sudden likes it. They may not love it, but likes it, to really help them grow, to not be afraid of it, to really dig in deep.
Yeah, and it's really just a perspective too. It's just a perspective, So many of us were taught it's not okay to sell, or be salesy or whatever. But when you think of it from the point of view that you're helping your client, so as an optometrist, I'm going to recommend what I think is the best plan of action for that person to have healthy eyes and to function the best. Now, if they choose not to go with that, it's okay, but I'm not choosing it because it's the most expensive thing. I'm choosing it because it's the best thing for them. So as long as you're thinking from that perspective that you're giving them the best you have, then they should be open to listening and buying if they can.
Exactly. When you come from, you right, your job, my job is to find the need and fill the need, right? What's the pain they have, and then what's the solution I bring?
Mhm.
And so when I look at that, a lot of people, because we're afraid of sales or they don't want to be pushy, they're coming from a sales mentality. I never come from sales, I come from service. I look at, if this was my business, this is what I would do, right? If you want a multi-million dollar company, even if you want a lifestyle business, right? Meaning you're just making really great money that you couldn't make in a job, right? Whatever your goal is, not my goal, but your goal, how do I help you do that and do it in a way that is the most profitable, right? The most fulfilling, and that we have quality of life. That's the whole point of being an entrepreneur, is that we have a quality of life a job could not give us. We have a quality of life that working for somebody else doesn't give us. We can make the kind of money we want to make that working at a job couldn't give us. And so when you understand that premise and know that I got you, know that I'm really looking out for your best interest, even though people fight me, girl, people fight me. I'm like, stop fighting me. Just do what I say, and I promise you will get results. I've done it. I've built 10 businesses, right? Two $10 million businesses, several multi-million-dollar companies, a couple flops. Can't do all that without some flops. We can talk about those too. I'm okay to talk about the failures because that's what brings you the success, right? So it's important to look at, I have some experience in this conversation. It's not theory, it's not concept. I've done it for myself and I've done it for clients for years, over and over and over again. That's what makes it great. That's what made you a great optometrist. You just did it over and over and over again to improve our eyesight, to improve the quality of our life, right? You're not talking about I'm selling quality of life, but that's what you give every single consumer when you were in that vocation, is the quality of life to see.
That's
I
right.
can't be in denial anymore, girl. I was in denial for 10 years. Like, I don't need glasses. I need glasses.
Got it. So let's just talk about faith. Let's talk about going back to that time when you had you two girls. People have asked me before, well, how did you do it as a single parent? And I said I had no choice. You
Right.
know, but but besides having no choice, what did your faith or your belief in yourself, what kind of mind did you have to go from where you were, where it looked like a really difficult spot, to that 250K a year?
Yeah, I love that you said that for yourself, is we didn't have a choice, right? I find entrepreneurs that really never turn that corner, they always have a back door. And the back door could be a husband, the back door could be another paycheck, another job, a back door could be your parents bail you out or somebody bails you out. Nobody was bailing me out. Nobody was bailing you out. It's like, if we didn't produce, we didn't pay the bills. If you didn't pay the bills, you were in trouble.
Right.
Right? That was motivation enough for me. And then once you're out of survival, right? If you go back to school, or education, and you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that first level is survival, food, shelter, clothing. Once you're done with food, shelter, clothing, then you're like, huh, what can I do now? Right now, I want to start belonging. I want to start looking at, okay, security, right? And the next level is security. I want to feel secure so that I don't ever go back there again, right? That's what I knew. I'm never going back there again. I will not put myself in that situation again. And then once I had that security, then you go into belonging. And belonging is, where's my community? That's where I started teaching people, like, oh, I felt like the Red Seas parted for me when I discovered it for myself. Because now this is 30 years ago, back in the day when there was no Zoom, there was right, there was no internet. I'm aging myself, so if you're just listening to this, I'm a bit seasoned. And so you had to figure it out on your own, right? You had to know someone. And so the back door is real. You give yourself, let yourself off the hook. And so if you don't let yourself off the hook, you go, well, I've got to make it happen. And I couldn't let myself off the hook. I had to make it happen. And then I fell in love with it. And then I wanted to just teach people what I had discovered for myself. It's like, oh my gosh, why are people not teaching this? Why are people not knowing this? And that's how the whole speaking came about. And then in 1998, that we already have the training and development company, we wanted to create a membership site for our students. I'm like, well, if they could get access to this in the internet in 1998 was just really getting big,
Mhm.
right? And so we were one of the first membership sites in that industry. And I wanted people to be able to download tools, get training on demand, really sexy it. But my first website, Dr. Kimberly, was a $500,000. There was no WordPress, there was no Infusionsoft, there was no Kajabi. We had to build all that from scratch, right? So I'm like, well, I don't have a $500,000, right, laying around to invest in this product. So I had to go learn how to raise money,
Mhm.
right? So again, went back to school and said, how do I raise money? How do I work with the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission? What do I need to do legally to protect myself? How do I get strangers to give me money? So I took this, week-long class and ended up taking that class several times until I really got it, right? And understood, how do you raise money? How do you build? How do you create your private placement memorandum? All that legal stuff. And when I was in that class, I had taken it probably for 4 or 5 years. And I'm realizing they're teaching people how to raise money, but they're not teaching how to build a business. Like, now you're taking people's money, but if you don't know how to build a business, you're just losing people's money.
Yeah.
So I went to the founder of the company and I said, there's a big chasm here. These people don't know how to build a business. We have to teach them that. He's like, perfect. You teach them that. I'm like, I don't know anything about an optometrist business. I don't know anything about a landscape design business. I don't know anything about these doctors and attorneys. No, mm-mm. He's like, you'll be great. Just go teach them. And so I started teaching at this Millionaires Forum. And then Dr. Kimberly would come up to me and go, oh my God, you're my coach. Will you coach me? I'm like, mm-mm. I don't know anything about it. I'm so scared,
Mhm.
right? Again, I think I call it God, right? That's that God thing, pushing you into your greatness, pushing you into your next. But I resisted it. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I probably resisted it for 2 years. Like, no, 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 I don't have capacity. No, 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 I don't have time. The reality was I was just scared, right? Because I thought business was so different. And then I had this genius idea. I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, okay, well, these business owners are more savvy than salon and spa owners, right? They have more cash flow than salon and spa. I'll just double my fees. And then Dr. Kimberly will say, oh, no, I can't afford that, right? No. Dr. Kimberly said, okay. So then all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh. I signed up. I think
You
that
gotta do
weekend,
it.
I signed up 3 clients that weekend. I'm like, now I have to figure this out.
Mhm.
And what I realized in that is business is business is business. Yes, there's cost of goods that are different. Yes, there's profit margins that are different. Yes, overhead is different. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get new clients. We all need to systematize it. We all have a financial forecast. We all have to sell. So, how do I take the principles that I had been doing in the beauty business and cross over to the entrepreneurial space? And that's how I crossed over into the entrepreneurial space. Again, not knowing how to do it, but knowing how to build business and realize that it's same, but different.
Mhm.
And so it became this, new market that I went into. It was like, oh, okay, this is fun. So I had about 20% of my business outside of the beauty industry, and then 80% of my business was in the beauty industry, for many years until I sold that training and development company to one of the largest publishers in the world and got out of that industry. So it's been this journey of exploration, this journey of surrendering, this journey of trust, this journey of letting go. I don't know if any of those words resonate with any of you that are listening to this. As entrepreneurs, we have to do all that.
Mhm. Exactly. And is there things that you learned going into that new space? Because I've heard people say, well, if you want a new idea, you got to like open up your mind and open up your eyes and see possibilities. So I'm sure there were marketing things that like the medical people or the attorneys or whatever they were doing that your salons weren't doing and vice versa. I bet you there were some things you could take from the salon industry. And even though they wouldn't think so, you could probably put it over here in this other side.
Yeah, I tell my entrepreneurs now this. I'm still teaching my new book, Power Your Profit. Is was published by Simon and Schuster. Right, it's all about what it took to build $10 million companies. right? So it's the roadmap. But most of the principles were the principles that I built my first $1 million business, which was the salon and spa, right? And then my second, the first $10 million company, which was the training and development business in the salon and spa industry, right? So when I look at, it's still the same foundational principles, right? You got to do sales, you got to do marketing, you got to do operations, you got to do finance, you got to be profitable. And then what's your exit strategy, right? That's business.
Mm-hmm.
You go, oh. And so they both helped each other and allowed me to speak in a way that the similarities from the industry is most entrepreneurs were very, we have high egos, right? We're fiercely independent. Nobody's going to be the boss of anybody
That's right.
as
Don't
entrepreneur.
tell me what to do for any.
Not tell you what to do. Right, which is good, and then at the same time it can, really be the hindrance, but it's the same. And to go, I can speak in a language where I'm not talking over your head. I don't have an MBA, I'm not a CPA, right? I am a rogue entrepreneur. I have been building businesses for 30 years, right? I have a ton of education. I just don't have that piece of paper from a college giving me my MBA, giving me something. But if you look at my track record, you have a ton of education. It's just life lessons. If I needed a business finance class, I went and took a course. If I needed to learn social media, I took a course. If I needed to learn how to sell, I took a course. So everything was that kind of education. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I need to learn it today and implement it tomorrow. Right? I don't need theory. I don't need an idea. I got enough of those. I need to know this is going to work, whatever this is. Not that there's not failure. I've had a ton when I look at marketing things that I did that didn't work, right? I believe business. So if you're listening to this, I'm holding up a combination lock like we had in high school, or if you're going to the gym. Business is like this combination lock. One little tick off and it doesn't open, right? So I remember standing at my locker, you're trying to be in a hurry and you're dialing it, right? And then it doesn't open. And you got to, okay, slow down, take your time. Business is the same way. You can put a marketing strategy in place and we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We go, that didn't work. Well, did the whole thing not work, or was there one tick that didn't work? Right? Maybe your ideal client isn't really clear. Maybe you're trying to market to everyone, so you market to no one. Right? Maybe your financing is off. It's too expensive or too cheap. Right? You can price yourself out of the market by being too cheap, because people will go, well, what's wrong with her? How come she only charges that much? I learned that the hard way being a hairdresser, right? Is one of my really good friends. We were in this class together, and she's like, I'd love for you to cut my hair. I'm like, awesome. She goes, well, how much is it? I'm like, $45. She goes, what's wrong with you? Aren't you any good? I'm like, well,
Oh,
that
no.
it, I was just stunned. Like, I thought I was expensive. And she's like, oh, I'm used to paying $80. And this is back in the 90s, right? I'm like, well, I suck. I suck because I don't know how to price my services. That's what I do know right now in this moment. So it was one of those things where you got smacked in the face, but a great lesson, right? So all those things, when you start looking at business, is that little tick, right? What's going to open your money, right? So that you have the financial freedom. Because let's face it, yes, we all love what we do, but we're doing this because we want to provide for our family, we want to provide for ourselves differently than working for somebody else. And so you've got to be one with the numbers, one with understanding it, working in profitability. One of my great coaches, Burke Franklin, said to me, he said, Susie, profit is the value that you as a business owner bring to your business. If you don't have profit, you're not bringing value. You're not managing the results.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, what a great way to look at it. Because I always came from profits, the bonus. That's what's left over.
Right.
And we all know there's never anything left over. And so you have to look at, profit is planned for. It's not what's left over. And that is why you're working so hard, is what's that? Freedom. Because money is just freedom. Money's choices. Money's a tool. That's all money is. It's just dirty paper.
Mm-hmm.
But allows us to do things that we couldn't do otherwise.
Yeah. So if you're going to work with someone, let's say you're going to work with someone who's a startup, and then you're going to work with someone who's been in business for a while, and they just need something to kind of knock them up to the next level. how differently would you work with them? Would you work with them in the same way, or would you work with them totally differently?
Well, every business is different, so every client is different, right? And so, depending on where someone is, the first step we always work at is your business plan. 90% of businesses I coach, whether they're doing 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, or starting up, they're lazy and they don't put their plan together. Or it's here in your head. Okay,
Mhm.
that's not a plan, that's an idea. And so we've got to get it out of your head, right? I'm working with a homeopathic doctor right now. Great business, right? 5 million a year, but her plan is so old, she's already surpassed the plan. So we've got to reinvent it to go, well, what does it look like now? You've already achieved everything you said you wanted. And so her sales have been at a plateau because she hasn't reinvented.
Mhm.
Because all she sees, if I do more sales, I don't have any more life, right? Because the
Right.
original was I want to do 5 million in sales, and that was the goal. And now she's here, and now there's no profit, no life. Talk about 6 million, 7 million, 8 million. It's like, no, 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 I already can't hold this ship that I have. It's like,
Mhm.
oh no, let's just re-engineer it and go, what do we need so that you have more freedom, not take on more jobs, right, at that level. And someone starting out, the same thing is, how do I get you the quickest way to cash, right? Because you've got to replace income you had with a job to go, well, what do we need to do? And I like to break it down in bite-sized chunks. So you can look at how many leads do you need in your business every day. Every single day, we have to be bringing leads into our business, and you have to bring qualified leads in your business. Well, how many is that? We just go, oh, I need to sell 2 things, 10 things. Yeah, but how many leads do I need to get to sell 2 things, 10 things? If you're not good at sales, you're
Mhm.
going to need a lot more leads than I do because I'm good at sales, right? So when you look at that, right, in the book Power Your Profit in chapter 6, it's all about sales. I give you my $100,000 sales script that I've been using for 30 years. I
Mhm.
used it as a hairdresser, just modified the language for whatever product or service that you have, and I close $100,000 clients. I've been using it for 30 years, and Dr. Kimberly, I pull it up every time I'm on a call. I'm Chatty Cathy. I love to talk. I'm gonna fix you. We're gonna be on this call. I'm gonna fix you. Well, I haven't earned the right to fix you until I find what your problem is,
Mhm.
and solve that. Work through that so you see there's a challenge, and then we come up with a solution together. How we fix it. Fixing it is working with me, and to
Mhm.
let me walk you through that path. So there's a system for everything. Don't try to wing it. Like that's you're gonna pay for it one way or other. You're gonna pay for it by hiring experts, or you're gonna pay for it in time.
Mhm.
Once I was able to hire an expert, I hired an expert to help me put my plan together, like my official business plan.
Mhm.
Her name was Gwen. It was $1,800. And back then, you might as well set $1 million. It was either pay my rent or pay her. But I knew I couldn't take my business any further. I was kind of stuck. And so I know I need a plan, but I don't even know where to begin with that. What does that look like?
Mhm.
And so I hired her, and that year my sales doubled because I got clear, right?
Mhm.
She helped me get clear. We really looked at our avatar and who I was serving. I was just serving whoever came to me. I wasn't really looking at this would be my ideal client. Right
Mhm.
now it's so prevalent because we have all this education, but I don't know, it's just like whoever came to me, I would try to upsell them and work with them. And, I had a lot of broke people and broken people wanting my help, but they weren't paying my bills. And
Mhm.
she's like, we need to get really clear who you love working with. Because I believe we can pick and choose our clients and you can fire clients. Like, if you don't like them, don't work with them. Those
Mhm.
people are draining.
That is true. That is true. I know, like as an optometrist, people come in the door and they're just crabby and mad when they walk in, and they're like, if we don't make them happy, it's like that's okay. They can go somewhere else.
Exactly. That's not
It's like
all
because
money's not good
someone that
money.
feels good and happy, not someone that's crabby and want to complain all the time.
Right. I always say all money's not good money. So let's
Right.
not take the money. Just go, who do I want to play with? My criteria now, one of them is I got to love you. I got to love what you're up to. I got to love your mission. We've got to vibe, right? Because we're going to spend a lot of time together. You got to be coachable, right? I'm not pushing you uphill, right? I'm too old now.
Mhm.
You either want to change and work on it or you don't. And that's okay too. I'm just not the right coach for you, right? Not the right business strategist for you. So I think you get to really decide, who do I want to play with? Because the ones that aren't fun drain you. They take twice as much time. You're not making money on them because they're the squeaky wheel and they're never happy. Can't ever please them. I don't know who likes to take care of those, but they are not me.
Yeah, me either. Me either. They can just go figure it out themselves or whatever it is they need to do.
It was in the beauty industry. I did not like working on brides because they were always stressed out. They were always cranky. They're always like, everything had to be perfect. Perfect, perfect. This curl's out of place. Okay, I'm sorry. It's your hair. I don't like. So I'm like, you can't pay me enough money to do it. And clients would beg. I'm like, I am not your girl because I'll punch you, and you don't want anybody punching you.
You don't want a black eye on your wedding day?
Patience, I'm gonna smack that right out of you.
Oh my gosh. So, you were talking about marketing earlier, and I know, like, on LinkedIn, daily I get things. We can get leads for you. We can sell you leads. We
Yes.
can, and it's like, it's overwhelming. How are we to market, and how are we to get all these leads that we need?
Right. Well, it's marketing is a several prong approach, right? It's not one thing we do. Is the best way is belly to belly. How can I get in front of my ideal client? I didn't want to be a speaker. I didn't start this because, I want to be a speaker. I want to be famous. I started because I'm like, I need to be in front of 50 women who can afford my services. Where are those women? Okay, they're in corporations. How do I go talk to those women so they know me, they can experience me, and they'll want to come to me? So my first speaking was just a single mom trying to figure out, I got to do this quicker, faster. I didn't have time to go, I got to meet Kimberly, then I got to meet Jill, then I got to meet like onesie, onesie, onesie. I'm like, give me 50 women and I can close them.
Mhm.
Right? I didn't know that was the strategy then, right? I was just like, I got to do this faster because I got bills to pay, kids to feed, right? Car payment to make. And so I started speaking. I sucked. I was horrible. If there was a video of me back then, it would have been awful. But I got 5 clients that day.
Mhm.
And so all the pain and suffering, because the number one fear in life is public speaking.
Mhm.
Number two is death by fire. So I'd rather burn in hell than do that. But once you do it, you're like, I got 5 clients. That was worth it because now I can pay my rent.
Mhm.
Now I can pay my car payment. Right now I can provide for my kids. That's how I started speaking. Then I'm like, how do I make a business out of this? Because this is fun and I can see the benefit of it. But I had to work through a lot of fear. I had to get over myself. I had to get over my looking good. I had to get over making it all about me. I had to figure out how to close a group of people. It was easy one-on-one, but now how do you do it in a group?
Mhm.
Right? So started looking at my successes because I wanted to market. So how do you get belly to belly in front of those people? Virtually, right? Zoom, belly to belly, summits, belly to belly, networking events is belly to belly, all in Zoom, right? We transitioned from live in-person events to Zoom events to have our business sustain.
Mhm.
Then there's how do I get exposure, right? That's going to be your press. So you've a book. Can I just tell you the value of a book? As a hairdresser, having a book allowed me to charge more because now I'm the authority versus the person next to me. And I'm out teaching other hairdressers, not the technical, I was teaching business, but my clients didn't care. They just thought, oh, she's famous. I'm going to, I'm like, this expert thing, there's something to it.
Mhm.
So a book gives you immediate credibility. I don't care what vocation you are. If you're in an auto repair industry, you want to write a book. If you're an optometrist, I want you to write a book. If you're a doctor, I want you to write a book. If you're a hairdresser, I want you to write a book. Immediate credibility, you'll get speaking events. Speaking events is marketing. That's all speaking events are, is marketing, right? Your chamber of commerce, old school networking still works. It's about building relationships, right? So advertising still works. It's all about getting your name out there. So Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, you need to put about 10% of your overall budget into your marketing, right? Don't spend every dollar. You got to know, you got to put back into your company so your company can keep giving to you or your business keeps giving to you. So you want to speak, you want to do networking, you want to be on podcasts. Podcast just gives you more exposure, right? Again, that expert factor.
Mhm.
Advertising, right? Getting yourself out there and advertising. Referral programs are a great way because the clients that you have. That's how I built my hairdressing business. I'd be like, Dr. Kimberly, who do you know that would love working with me?
Mhm.
Right? And doing promotions around it, doing contests around it, right? Getting people excited around it. Now, if I'm overwhelming you, just breathe. It's all in the book. Breathe. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but it's not one thing we do, all things we do, right? And then you start looking at, if I'm starting to bring more leads in and starting to close more people, then I can hire someone to help me with the things I don't like to do, right? I want us to work on our highest income producing activity. This is my highest income producing activity. This is giving me exposure, right? Speaking is the highest income producing activity, not because I'm getting paid. It's because I'm meeting students, right? I'm talking to them about our product or services, and then they're coming to me saying, "Ooh, can I talk to you?" Yes, that's so much easier than me going, "Hey, Kimberly, can I talk to you about building your business?" No. Like, we have an event today. It's a super networking event. It's a give to our customers. We have 250 people coming to that event. I'm hosting that event, so I'm giving to my community. But I want my students to know I care, know I value them, and we have a live event coming up. I want them to come to that live event. So if you love it virtually, you're gonna love it live. Again, so I'm hosting that event. And so that goes back to the old school. When you think about old networking, we would host these intimate things that are businesses, right? Host at Chamber of Commerce, same thing. Right now, we're just doing it at an accelerated rate, right? Getting more exposure. So again, I want you to look at what are all the things that are bringing attention to your business. Now you got to close. If you're afraid to close, you got to develop that muscle and work on that muscle. I sucked at it in the beginning. I was not good at it. I just kept trying. So before, it was 1 in 20. I'd have to speak to 20 people to close one. Now I'm at a 50% close rate. So every other customer I can close. And so when you look at that, but that took years, and finding a script, finding the right script to help me so I wouldn't get nervous. Because we all get nervous. I still get nervous. And so even though I've been doing this for a long time, it's like, oh, am I going to do it right? Are they going to like me? Can I give them value? Can I work with Dr. Kimberly's business? I don't know. Can I help her? I don't know. Right? So using a script just gives me that confidence that I don't have to make it up or pretend I know what I'm talking about. I follow the script.
Exactly. And I'm so glad we're getting back to those in-person meetings, because those are the best for me. And that's where I've gotten my best contacts over the years. But there
Yeah.
are still a lot of people on like Zoom and things. And I've been on these where, there's 30, 35 women. You've got 1 minute, 2 minutes. And it's like, okay. And when I'm participating, I'm taking notes because I don't know how else you can remember everything people are saying. So I'm writing names and putting a little note about them and just marking them ones I think maybe I'll connect with them. But when you have that 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute, how do you stand out in that?
Yeah. So we call it SNAP, super networking at an accelerated rate. I think what happens is we get in there and we start circle talking. We aren't clear what we do. So I want you to be super clear. As a result of working with me, I help entrepreneurs increase their sales 200 to 400%. Who do you know that would be interested? That took 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care that I'm a speaker. You don't care that I'm an international best-selling blah blah blah, right? You don't care. What you care is what's that result I'm going to get, right? As a result to coming to that 3-day event, you're going to walk away with resources, tools, and relationships. Who do you know that's ready to get out there, ready to meet people again in person, hug, and do business, right? So again, 15 seconds. So we spend so much time giving backstory. I don't care about the backstory until I know what you can do for me. That's the what's in it for me. And so when you have a minute, you want to save that minute, get really clear as a result of working with me, as a result of working with my company, as a result of taking my course, as a result of reading my book, as a result of what's the result? Let's focus on the result for the people that you work with. They don't care about the process. They don't care that it's 5 modules. They don't care what I'm teaching. What am I going to walk away with? So clear and concise. Like, it should not take you longer than 30 seconds. If it's taking you longer than 30 seconds, you are circle talking. and we check out. We're not listening to you. We're like, you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. We're all waiting for you to shut up so we can go to the next person, and hopefully they're more exciting.
That is so true. It can be really, get exhausting listening to one after another without some stimulation or something that sparks your interest.
Right. In those larger networking events, especially on Zoom, right? We're trying to all navigate this Zoom thing. Like I do the same thing that you do. I write it down. And then in the background, I reach out, like let's say you and I connect and I liked what you said. I will reach out in the chat and say, "Hey, Dr. Kimberly, I really like what you're about. Let's have virtual coffee. 15 minutes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I got 30 seconds to give you my snap. You got 30 seconds to give me your snap. And let's get on the phone for 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, we will decide if we like each other to have another meeting. Or we'll decide, yeah, it was great to know you. I'll keep you in mind if there's somebody else that could use your product or services, right? Because not everybody's a love connection.
Right.
But in the background, while every other person is speaking, I'm like, ooh, I like Dr. Kimberly. Or, ooh, I like Jane. Or, ooh, I like Susie, whoever, right? And you want to network right in the moment. Don't wait till later because you know we're not going to do it. I don't do it. I know if I don't do it, you're not doing it. I'm just saying that. Because I'm pretty on top of it. But I'm going to the next thing. I got another appointment. We got another thing to do. So you want to do it in the moment of
that makes sense to me. Exactly. Because you always say, well, let's get together someday. We got to catch up. If you don't put a date on it, I mean, even with my friends that I haven't seen in a while, I mean, if we don't put a date on it,
it's not happening.
Weeks go by.
Right.
And we love each other. And weeks go by.
Right. Right. And you love each other. That's the caveat. I really like you and I ain't got time for you.
Yeah, it's got to go on the schedule. Everything does. Even family time, everything goes on the schedule for me.
Yes. Me too. Same thing. I live and breathe by my schedule, one schedule. Right. And I talk about it in the book, right? We call it mission control. So everything there is to do and handle is in your schedule. And we do it in a way that allows you to enjoy it. Like my sales time isn't called sales times. My sales time in my calendar is called creating wealth. Because if I get on a call with Dr. Kimberly, I'm going to help her create wealth. I'm going to look at her business and find the money. That's my job. Where is the money? How can I double her sales? That's the conversation I go into. Right? That's way more fun than going, let's sell Kimberly. No, she doesn't want to be sold. But if I tell you, let's have an appointment, I'm going to find you the money, you're excited to get on that phone call to find the money.
Oh, for sure. Everybody wants to find the money or find whatever it is they want. Find love or find whatever it is you're looking for. You're excited to find it.
Right.
So,
and then my check my email time. It's not called check my email time. Right? It's not email because nobody wants to do that either. It's called communication restored. So at the end of the day, I have zero things in my inbox every day. End of day, zero. Right. So every day I come in, I'm not letting them stack up. I'm not letting them, when I see people's inboxes that have thousands of emails in there, it overwhelms me. Look, I start itching. I'm itching just talking about like, oh my God. And so many people just go, I'll get back to it. No, you won't. Like do it, delegate it, or dump it. Right. So the first thing I do in my email is I go in and I dump. Junk. Then the second thing I do is I look at 911. What's 911 that needs to be addressed right now? Then I address it. And then everything else either goes in my schedule, right? Or I block time to review those emails. And so, again, it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be systemic. And that gives me more freedom. Now, I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative. So I'm very, very creative and I can create a lot of things. So structure allows me to be more creative. I used to think structure was controlling me. Time management controlled me, right? Nobody's the boss of me. But it actually gives me more freedom. And then everything there is to do and handle is done. I don't have to think about, I got to get back to Kimberly. It's in my schedule to get back to Kimberly, right?
It does make it so much easier. And I know even like hobbies, like I'm an artist. So I schedule times to do my painting because otherwise I feel like I'm doing it at the end of the day or when I'm tired. It's like, I want to do it when I'm most creative. I want to do the things I like then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to put fun in there because fun doesn't happen. Fun is created, right? Vacations in the beginning of the year, in December is the beginning of my year, like I plan the whole year, is I write all my articles for the year. I schedule all my vacations for the year. I schedule all the trainings that I know I'm personally going to do or deliver for the year. Now, I don't know where I'm going on vacation, but I'm going somewhere and this is the time I'm going to do it, right? I have
Mhm.
girlfriend trips once a quarter that puts in the schedule. I don't know where we're going and I don't know what girlfriends, but someone's going with me and we're going somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And so it's important to put it in there. My assistant will go, well, where are you going? I don't know yet, but I'm going somewhere.
Mhm.
Even if it's just, out on the river, I'm going to go get on my boat and tool in the river.
Mhm.
Just have some me time, off time, restoration time.
Yeah, perfect. And are there other things that you do? Like a lot of people have a morning routine, and some of us who are night owls, we have a night routine. Are there certain things that you do to just get yourself centered, ready for the day, or things that you do most days just to keep yourself uh, where you want to be?
Yes, I do. So the first thing I do, now I believe in God. That's my spiritual path. And so, whatever your faith is, I think spirituality plays a big role in any person's life for holistic success. When you interview the most successful people, they have a strong spiritual foundation. So, whatever that it means for you, I believe, Dr. Kimberly, that my gift from God is my life. My gift back to God is what do I do with my life? Like, I have a responsibility to be something more, taught my children that, contribute to humanity. So I live on the river. And so every morning I get up, I get my coffee, I go, if it's raining or weather, I stay inside, but I have a big picture window to stare at the river that gets me close to God. And I pray. I have daily prayers. I'm really looking at what's my intention. I'm praying for my children and my grandchildren. I'm praying for my friends. I'm just in the space of gratitude, right? Grateful for my environment, grateful. Even when it's shitty, I'm grateful, right? To go, how do I make lemonade out of this lemon that I'm getting?
Mhm.
But that time just centers me, right? And then my man and I spend the morning together. That's like where I don't have my agenda because at the end of the day, you're doing interviews all day. You're like, I've used all my words. I don't have any.
Mhm.
So at
Okay.
the end of the day, I'm much more quiet, and I'm an introvert as a trained extrovert. So
Mhm.
it takes so much for me to do this,
Mhm.
but it's my job. And so by the end of the day, I'm tapping out, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
shh, let's be quiet. Shh. And so
Uh-huh.
my man's doing quiet work all day, right? He's doing
Uh-huh.
stuff. So he's ready to talk. I feel like the dude in the relationship. He's ready to talk. And I'm like, no, shh, let me just debrief.
Uh-huh.
So that's my morning, my morning routine. I live in the trees. I love being out in nature, just getting grounded so that I can have that peace of mind and start my day right.
Beautiful. So if people wanted to work with you, how do they find you? How can they contact you? What services do you have? Where do they find your books?
Yes. So you can come to my website over here at
Mm-hmm.
Susie Carder, CARD as in dinero, dollar, ER.com. So my name on all my social handles, you can go there. We do have a free summit coming up, and the link will be in the show notes. Again, I'm an advocate of try before you buy. Come see if I'm the right coach for you. Come see if our community is right for you. People come for the education, they stay for the tribe. We have the most amazing, badass men and women in our community. We're 80% women, mission driven entrepreneurs who want to make a difference in the world and leverage this thing called business and monetization. How do we monetize that gift, that talent that God gave you? And my job is to show you the money. Let me show you the money so that you can keep doing the work that you were put on this earth to do. So come find us on our website, right? Come to the 4-day event. We'd love for you to be our guest as Kimberly's guest, right? To come and see if we're the right company for you. I want to invite you to come play with us. Come check us out. Come see. You're in business for yourself, not by yourself. There's I think our egos can be so big thinking you have to do it all, be it all, and that's just not true. Find the people that can be your rocket booster coaches, friends, mentors, hook on, implement what you need to so that you can have a life that you love. Because wealth truly is our birthright. It's not for some of us, it's for all of us. It's not something that we're deemed, it's something that we earn. And my goal is how can I help you get there quicker, faster, wherever you're at.
All right. Well, thank you. And now just a personal question. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Hmm. My family. I know that sounds hokey and corny, but my children were my why originally. My why for a better life, my why for what I do in the world. And now my children are women with their own children. And so to be able to be the example for them and to provide a lifestyle that I never had as a child, right? Exposing them to opportunities in the world, whether it's travel, whether it's relationship, a new way of being, just to be the example for them.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and for sharing all your stories and wisdom.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you and I appreciate everything that you're doing right in the world. We need more badass women holding the flag. We need men too. We love our men. Don't get me wrong. Right, but I think our community needs, women showing the way, leading the way, being vulnerable, being real, what works, what doesn't work, and thank you for being that for our community.
Well, thank you. And I have one last question. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Hmm. The degree of your aliveness is to the degree of your integrity. And integrity isn't like good, bad, right, wrong. Integrity could be as simple as I said something and it hurt someone's feeling. Integrity could be your car's a mess and every time you get in it, you're just like, ah, right? That bogs you down. Freedom comes from when all that disappears, right? When you know that, integrity can be like dirty laundry. You can do your laundry all day long and at night something's going to be in there. And to go, how can I live the most peaceful life is being true to myself, being true to my community, and walking my talk. The tongue in my mouth and my tongue in my shoe are going in the same direction. That allows me the freedom to not have all this stuff in my head carrying it around like, oh, they're going to find out. Let me tell you before somebody else does. That's how I play. But it allows me to have an amazing life and a freeing life because I'm not trying to hide. I'm not trying to pretend. I'm not trying to defend. This is it. Either you love it or you don't. And that's a great place to be in.
It sure is. Thank you so much, Susie.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon.